not late, it's only 4:03.
And the parking outside is pretty horrendous.
I guess just text Paul. I think Paul said he wanted to come.
So he did. He said it was good with him. Because I answered right after. Oh, here he comes, here he comes.
Oh, okay. He got an excuse.
Mr. Dillon.
You, if they had the purple veteran, the purple sign up, you could park there.
Looks like the beginning of Gunsmoke.
Don't tell me you walked up all those stairs.
Why didn't you take the elevator?
Why didn't you call Carmel? She was gone.
No, he's in the rain. You don't take elevators.
The other place. The elevator down by me.
He came in
You
before.
forget we have an elevator, but you walk up these stairs. So are all other department heads, they're not coming?
They don't really need to be here.
They
I
don't?
didn't, yeah, yeah,
Good, so I don't have to be straining my neck.
See,
no,
Jane,
okay. Okay, so let's get this started, because so welcome everybody to the special town board meeting of March 29, 2022. On a roll call?
Councilman Tom Divany. Absent. Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Batari.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Present.
Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here. And can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm just going to give a brief explanation, as somebody said to me today. He said, do a non-real estate attorney language to explain it. So today, we are basically accepting deeds. Oh, hold on a sec, give me a sec. There, is that better? There you go. Sorry, it wasn't cockamamie here, sorry. Maybe that's a bit better. Okay. So today we are accepting deeds from the Village of Nyack. Arguably, when the dissolution is complete, it keeps going in and out. Oh, it's this. Okay, well, hopefully, I'll watch it. Okay. When the village is dissolved, the town of Orangetown inherits the properties. Anything that's not sold, that belongs to the village. The village attorney and the town attorney have been working diligently to kind of make it cleaner, where they actually deed the properties to the town of Orangetown. So that, part of what we're doing today is we're accepting deeds from the village of South Nyack, or we're approving the acceptance of deeds for certain properties. Related to that is the acceptance of an assignment and assumption of the contract that they have for the sale of the DPW building. As we sit here, we're told that the village hall is going to be sold and closed tomorrow. We will wait and see. But the DPW building, as most of you know, will not. So for today's purposes, the contract is being assigned to us. We are stepping into the shoes of the village. It's not a new contract. It's not a new terms. It's basically the same agreement. With that said, the town is now starting fresh with the zone change. And it's, being a town, we're a little bit different. The town is any sales subject to permissive referendum. The village is not, so it's not exactly the same. But anyway, so as far as this is not, if there's any progression on a zone change, we're starting from square one. There will be hearings. There will be notice to the county. There will be environmental reviews done. There's nothing. I know there's people out there who are hopeful that we're either going to close right away or not close right away. None of it's going to be that quick because we are stepping in and starting brand new. Okay, we're not accepting necessarily some of what was done beforehand. So that's, I guess, what I have to say. I do want to just add a couple things. I want to thank the village attorney and our town attorney who have been really working very hard on this, and the village board for whether you agree with what they do or don't agree with what they did. They've been working very hard to do what they thought was best. Not that we all necessarily maybe agreed with it, but they have been working very hard. We've been having weekly meetings and trying to get this over the finish line. So I just want to acknowledge that and what they've done. And Mr. Magrino at the end down there, who is going on vacation in like a week because he's had enough. Yeah, I may be going too. Anyway, I do just want to, I guess we can real quick, just workshop it. Again, the first item is to accept the quitclaim deeds. Again, you see those deeds are listed for all the properties, kind of municipal parks and things like that. Rob, are we doing something with this newest thing with the Orange and Rockland thing? Or
No,
we
that was taken care of. That's actually 115 Piermont Avenue should actually be Rosanna Tout Park, T-O-W-T Park. No, those are Orangetown items, so
Okay. Okay.
they're fine.
Okay.
The assignment agreement you discussed.
Right.
I
The
do want
author-
to
that's
talk
the
on the other
assignment
one.
agreement. 5, just, as many of you know, the village has an ongoing lawsuit with the new owners of the Nyack College. Unfortunately, or I'm not really sure, fortunately, the lawyers that were representing the village have a conflict with us. They are suing us on a different matter, so we cannot use the same lawyers that the village was using, and we are going to be using new attorneys to take over that lawsuit. Number 6 and 7 is basically one of the former South Nyack employees. Sakuna ma'am is going to be coming over to us, so we had to create a position for her and appoint her. So she's working up, another one who needs to be thanked, has been working at Village Hall by herself, is working up right to the last minute, but she's going to be coming over to Orangetown, so that's what 6 and 7 is. And then we do have an executive session, actually, it's for hiring, personnel-related matters with that, so. No, you can't. Okay. There will be a public portion, and you can speak at the public portion, and you can say it, but we're not going to yell out. That's not something we like to do. Okay, we're all going to, I guess on that, can I get a motion to open a public portion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I do want to first, we did get an email. I'm not going to read the entire thing in, but I did say I would read it into the record. It's an email from S.K. Bailey that he sent to the town board today. Basically, without going into all the details, it looks like he is supporting the sale of the DPW building, but the email will be as part of the record, so anybody who wants to read it can certainly read it. On that note, I'm going to call up, I'm sorry, I can't read his first name, but it's DeLillo. Is it Chandra DeLillo? I'm sorry, Charlie? There's a first. You can't hand over time. You can speak. He'll be speaking 3 minutes, but you can't, no, we're not handing over time. No, you cannot. Okay, if you're going to speak, yeah, come up here. Otherwise they can't hear you on Facebook or anything else, and we get accused of altering the film.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused as well because, first of all, I mean, I think a lot of the opposition from this comes to the fact, I think we've already discussed this, that if this doesn't get sold, if this DPW doesn't get sold, then many of the residents are going to be stuck with this legacy tax, and it's going to be calculated, and they're going to owe money. So if this sale does not happen with this particular deal that's now forwarded to you, is this what happens, you know, to the property, and then do the taxpayers, I mean, end up having to owe taxes, or is it calculated because it was already calculated beforehand? Like, that's a little bit confusing. But also, before other people speak on the legalities, if somebody that knows the property in question found out, guess what? A trucking company is coming here and that parking lot's disappearing. On its face, it is so crazy that anybody that I've talked to that knows, I mean, including my own mother and cousins, they're like, are you kidding me? It's just not logical. There's no common sense to it. It is so very wrong. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Nori Lutchman or Dutchman? You're not speaking, okay. Okay, Faith Elliott? And again, for those who are not used to, we do have a 3-minute, and there's a clock up there, so just.
Thank you. My name is Faith Elliott. I'm a resident of South Nyack. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you. greatly appreciate it. The expression, "we had to destroy the village in order to save it," may be apocryphal in reference to the Vietnam War. It may or may not have been said, but it is perfectly linked to what is going on with the village of South Nyack, what has gone on, and how the residents of South Nyack have been subjected to scare tactics, untruths, quick and dirty EISs, and just general treatment that makes us feel that we're being punished for the reason that the village is being dissolved. I'm speaking against both the sale of the village hall and the DPW. The village hall is also spot zoning. It is, has been quite a passive use, a village hall with not many employees, and the cops, who are excellent neighbors, I have to say. It is being turned into an e-bike shop, a coffee shop, 3 professional offices, and there are talks of a farmer's market as well. Now, if you go into Nyack, people are always complaining about Runcible Spoon and the bikes that are outside and people hanging out all over the place. The quick and dirty EIS that the South Nyack Village did said this would have no impact on the street. It's a residential neighborhood. The commercial district starts a mile up, right next to Nyack. There is no question that it will have an environmental impact, traffic, pollution. As a matter of fact, the thruway, when it was putting the egress path, purposely did not put it on that corner because after comments from neighbors, it was determined that because of buses, school buses, traffic, walkers, it is a dangerous corner. It desperately needs further study. I am hoping it does not close tomorrow. As far as DPW, to put a trucking company at the head of a street that houses modest Victorian homes, many senior citizens, not wealthy people, who have for about half a century had the use of the parking lot, is a travesty, not only the dangers that a trucking company brings, even to an industrial area, but to go from residential to light industrial, again, okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Kathy Tappenden.
Good afternoon. I want to thank you for listening to us, the residents of South Nyack. We're very, very concerned about, in particular, my issue, the sale of the DPW on Brookside Avenue. I'm one of the longtime residents there. I'm concerned about the zoning change, that if it's changed to light industrial, a trucking company does not belong in the middle of a residential block. There are people walking, there are children out playing, having trucks come up and down the block is just ridiculous. They'll have longer working hours. People are outside. It's a relatively narrow street, and I don't know how they'd fit. We would also lose the lot where 26 residents park. Why do they park there? There is absolutely nowhere else for them to go. To add those vehicles onto the street, I fear would create a huge safety problem. Number one, I don't see how they would fit, and number two, what happens when we have an emergency? How do the fire trucks and the ambulances get through with all these additional cars that may or may not move every day? It's a terrible situation. We'd also be very concerned about the noise and the trucks idling. We're steps away from the thruway. Isn't that bad enough? But to have trucks idling all day long, I think is a terrible thing too. A lot of us are older residents. A lot of us have been there for many, many years, and we are just opposed to it. So I hope you find it in your better judgment to not let this sale come through.
Right.
We're not opposed to a sale. If it should be a residence or something like that, we'd be happy to accommodate people. It's the parking lot we're most concerned about, and also the trucks.
Thank you.
For your time.
Celeste Dumas. I'm going to go through the list and then we'll just.
Hello, my name is Celeste Dumas. I live at 80 Brookside Avenue in South Nyack. I have lived there for 50 years. I do not want to see a trucking company come in. That's all I have to
I'm
say.
so, okay, thank you. Olivia Thomas.
I live at 184 South Franklin, which is the corner of Franklin and Brookside. I'm privy to all the traffic that goes up Brookside. It's a terrible situation to think of bringing large trucks into the neighborhood that is residential, that is vulnerable to heavy traffic, speeding traffic. I fought for some time to get stop signs at the corners because children would be playing and I saw children get hit there. Not by trucks, but it's certainly a terrible situation to put trucks there. It's a residential community and there are people there, hardworking people who bought their homes, who've worked hard over the years to improve their homes and make it a lovely neighborhood. South Nyack became much more friendly for that particular section with the development of the park and the walking trail, walking and biking trail and tennis courts and things. So this sale to a trucking company with huge trucks reverses the nature of a residential community, creates pollution. We know that the trucks' motors are running a long time. They're big motors, they make a lot of noise. They're big trucks, they need a lot of space. We can see our streets that have not been subjected to this, being subjected to heavy traffic, heavy equipment, which is crushing to the streets. We need to remember that there are people that are living there, people who work at night, people who work at different times of day who need to sleep, and children who need to be able to come out to play, or parents to walk their children. It's not a place for big trucks, and the parking lot is needed. I understand there are 26 cars that have used that parking lot for quite a time at a nominal fee, not a commercial fee, because it's a neighborhood. And it's so important to remember, to have everybody remember that it's a neighborhood of just ordinary people who want to work and to sleep and to, in quietness and not breathe in heavy exhaust and not have great trucks rumbling up and down our street. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Carson Adams.
I want to thank the board for calling this meeting and hearing our voices, and also all the work you've done. I'm just coming out here to support my neighbors. I live on Elysian, which is 2 blocks north. I've lived there 30 years. This is a very quiet neighborhood, and yes, the DPW ran out of that, but it was very quiet. You only heard Jimmy when he ran the leaf truck, or he was sweeping the streets. He drove a little pickup truck to pick up leaves, and I mean, this would be a tremendous change. The hours that we heard, would they be open till 7, is just, it's horrible to think that, you know, over on Elysian, kids are playing, you know, at 3:30. On Ross, that connects us between the two, they're riding their bikes, they're playing ball games. There's a lot of children, and the peace and quiet. Even just going up Clinton, which is 1 block south, you can see the yards back right up to this garage, and be very disruptive to their life. you know, their peace and quality they deserve. The other thing I was going to say is, I know the village was rushed. They did, I feel, I'm not that critical of them. I know they had a limited amount of time, and they did our wishes and dissolved the village. They didn't have time. They took this offer because it was the best one to show up and do the deal, so they didn't have time, so they picked one. They were kind of forced, thinking that that was the most important thing, and I'm so happy that Orangetown is willing to take this on, and I hope that you'll see it through and do all the due diligence and decide what's best for the residents and take the time to find a better offer. I love what you guys did for Palisades. You're trying to find somebody who fits that area. And, you know, I don't want to burden the residents of Orangetown with extra taxes because of a lawsuit that we're bringing. I mean, kind of humbly going to the town of Orangetown, thank you for taking us. So that's all I have to say. I hope you consider these poor people that are going to be living with these trucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have to run into executive session because we had scheduled interviews that we have to do. We will come back and finish. Anybody else who wants to hear, just keep in mind, there's no vote on any zone changes tonight. It's just accepting the contract, and that, you know, if it gets to that point, you will have another chance to come in. Like I said, we're going to refer it out to the, I mean, we're starting, if we decide what we're doing, again, we don't get this till Friday, so it's just really just making sure the documentation is covered and the deed gets signed, and then we'll deal with it as a board, but.
Any sense of how long your session will go?
A half hour. I mean, realistically. Okay.
I'll make a motion. Aye.
go? Where's Brian go? Okay. Should we just make a motion to come out of executive session? Okay. Can I get a motion? Motion to come out of executive session by Jerry Vitari, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we'll continue the public session portion. So, everyone who was on, thanks for waiting. Sorry, we had interviews scheduled, so. Everyone who signed up already had a chance to speak. Is there anybody who did not sign up that wants to speak? Yep, come on up. Just again, if you don't mind, just stating your name for the record.
Certainly. My name is Kevin Phillips. If you watched the February 8th taping from the South Nyack when they did their last session on the DPW, you would hear the village attorney refer to me as Dr. Phillips. And they let me speak several times that day because Christine and I have laid the legal foundation for an Article 78, given the many rules that they've broken in this process. So certainly glad that it's February 8th when they tabled that motion. They've not been able to put their act together to go forward with it. And yet, I have a couple questions after seeing this today. Christine, would you show, we're actually talking about two pieces of property, and you only have one on here. Are you not taking ownership of both pieces of property?
I don't know what you
Well, if you look at Brookside Avenue, it says 66.53-3-6.1. There's actually two deeded pieces there. And that's what we've been fighting over, because one deeded piece, and I don't know if you guys, I mean, can I approach you guys and show you what I'm talking about?
To save time, the town is taking both. The town's getting a deed to both.
Okay. But I mean, what we're talking about is, unfortunately, they highlighted the wrong piece. Brookside is right here. So Brookside, the DPW is this large piece, and the municipal hall, the municipal parking area is right here. And see, what happened is that when they built the new DPW, it went over the line about 6 or 8 inches, right?
I've heard.
And so what I offered, I said to the mayor, I said, I'll make this easy for you, because I have this piece over here. That's a double lot. I have my own parking. I have the biggest building on the block. But I have a second lot there with another parking. I mean, I've used the parking over here, but.
Can I ask you a quick question, although you remember, what are these? Are these actual lots?
This one here is a house.
Okay.
This one here is a house. This one here faces Cooper, and that's, yeah, these are, everything's built on. And so I said, well, at least my attorney recommended that I say first to John Durso, and then actually formalize it by making an offer to the business saying, I would buy this parking area and pay for the property line change, and that way we solve the problem for parking. Because this is, I mean, Clinton Avenue is a third wider than Brookside. Plus, they come in off of the thruway off of 9W, and they go down Clinton, and when they sell Village Hall over here, I mean, we estimate that the traffic going past Hirsch's house, because he's right here, is it's going to go from 20 trucks a day to, because right now, everything comes out of Nyack, comes out to the thruway 9W over here. So you've got about 20 trucks a day going past here. When they start with the market and everything over here, we figured that in the summertime, he's going to have another 30 or 40 trucks a day going past his house, because they got like 6 different enterprises going to the Village Hall. But anyways, so this, when you have bike shop, cafe, farmer's market, 3 offices upstairs, that's what he's putting in there. So my question is, since you only have one deeded piece up there, I guess you're saying that's just a mistake?
No, it's covered by the next resolution, number 4. That's coming.
Okay. So it's just not part of the list?
It's not part of the other, the upper list is more the
Resolution number 4 has both lots.
right.
Okay. So, what Durso said is he would not, he said several things since, but what he told me personally, what we have recorded him saying, is that he needs the municipal parking lot to run his trucks. He's gonna poke holes in the backside of the DPW and run his trucks.
And part of my misinformation has been that I didn't understand the difference between an 18 and a 10-wheeler. Now that I do, I feel pretty stupid. But Jimmy will tell you that once a year they back an 18-wheeler in here to deliver the salt. He says it's the worst day of the year, but it's forever to get that 18-wheeler in there. But it's the only day of the year they do it, so they do it. If you, I stopped a 10-wheeler guy the other day and I said, how much more do you need to turn an 18-wheeler versus a 10-wheeler? And he says an 18-wheeler, you have to have 100 feet more to turn an 18-wheeler. So part of, because everything you've seen of our direct mailers, I always say 18-wheelers, and I've been wrong. It actually is easy. If you punch a hole in the backside of the building, it's very easy to run. This is what Durso meant when he said it. He never said 18-wheeler, he just said he's going to run his trucks through. But he has to have both, because this is the parking lot, and then you got a significant parking lot on the side of the DPW, which is what the DPW is. And so if he punches a hole in the backside here, all he's got to do is run through the municipal lot, and he can run through there. He can run 10-wheelers all day, 24/7.
Okay, I'm going to thank you for your information, but again, this is not the zone change, okay? So again, we have to all get up to speed because we were led to believe that this was going to be long closed and it was not going to be anything we had to, deal with. And clearly that's.
So your process would be,
Well, the contract's going to be assigned over to us, and this is what I have kind of said publicly. One of my problems with, the village was coming down on us that we weren't committing to take the money and apply it towards it, which was not true. My thing was I didn't want to be bound to a contract that I was not a part of, did not negotiate. My interest was not maybe aligned with theirs, the most money, the quickest, so that was where the disconnect was coming in. I kept saying, look, it's going to come to us, but this board has to look at it, our lawyer has to look at it, and we have to make a determination where it proceeds from there. And I know, there's challenges out there, and, we'll decide as a board what happens, but,
Christine says that she's already given you a copy of Ferrick's letter, which maybe you can post it already on the site.
I don't.
It gives the legal basis by which South Nyack has not done the proper review. You being a real estate attorney, the reality is, if it went through, the judge under Article 78 has the ability to call each of them, subpoena each of those people to help them understand how they just basically bypass laws. So I appreciate your consideration.
Yeah, the mic, they won't be picked up.
So
No.
just a couple
No.
questions.
No, seriously, we have to keep everyone to 3 minutes. You will have, like I said, you will have other times. If you want to email the board, you can certainly email the board.
Can I just
but
make
we-
one request, please?
Yes.
I know that you normally meet at 4 o'clock.
No, we don't normally meet at 4 o'clock. This was a special town board meeting, and we decided to, we're usually Tuesday nights at 7.
Oh, okay, because that's been the biggest complaint about today was that it's
Yeah,
gonna be
no,
4
we don't
o'clock.
normally, we needed to do this. It was just time constraints and things, and
Okay.
it's usually 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, yep.
So if any of the board members have not seen the Ferrick letter, that is the legal basis by which we were going to file the Article 78 and make sure
I'm sure
that-
Don Ferrick knows where to find us. No worries.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. Thank you for your
And
information.
then if I have a handout for you, how do I give that to you?
Absolutely. Give it to the town clerk, and she'll
Okay.
be.
So the handout includes not only emails between me and the mayor, but also Ferrick's foundation for not selling the village hall as well.
Does anybody else want to speak that didn't have a chance? No, I'm sorry. Oh, you never spoke. Do you want to speak?
She spoke. The one with the hat? Yeah.
Did you speak?
Yeah,
Okay.
she spat. No, come on.
Okay.
Holy shit.
On Facebook, people were writing numbers of calculating how much they would have to pay. in
Okay,
tax.
I'm going to let my finance director get to that, and I will say this. I'm a little bit, I'm a
Yes,
little troubled
she
by,
did.
I don't know, a little troubled by what I think is maybe a little fear-mongering about the numbers. So, I looked at it from my perspective, but I've never been a math person, so I'll let my finance director, Jeff, would you mind going up there, because on Facebook they can hear, and then. But then she did. I think we could, I think.
Okay, Teresa, you want me to just talk
Just,
about
you've seen the numbers, and I think
legacy
you've
district?
corrected them on occasion, just,
Sure.
I think there's somewhere they're
So-
saying your taxes go up $2,400 or something.
So let me first explain what goes into the legacy district. What the legacy district is the cost and the liabilities incurred by the village of South Nyack that the town is going to assume. And the main components of that are the outstanding debt, which there's a little over $1 million of outstanding debt, and then you have the health care costs for the retirees. So each and every year, I'm going to have healthcare costs continue to go up. I calculate what that is. We take over the responsibility of paying for those retiree healthcare costs, and I put those into your tax bill, which you saw this year. This year, your legacy costs for 9 months were $360,000. That was roughly $200,000 for the bond debt service in 2022. And then also, it was $150,000 for healthcare, and that was, again, 9 months worth of coverage. So going forward, next year, it'll be $200,000 for healthcare costs. My understanding is the village has enough in its coffers right now to pay off the debt. When that money comes over, it'll come into a segregated bank account that is for the village of South Nyack legacy costs. And I don't know what additional costs, either lawsuits, et cetera, but what will happen is that the assets and the liabilities from South Nyack will transfer over to the town on April 1st. And to the extent that I can reduce the legacy costs based on the monies that are brought over or from any future sales, I will do that. But each and every year, I will have to recalculate what those retiree costs are, and that's what will be on your tax bill. But to say that I read in some articles on the South Nyack website in particular that your liability is going to go up by $2.1 million if these buildings are not sold is not true. The only liability you have right now is the outstanding debt, which is about $1 million. And that's about what I know from their finances right now. I'll have a clearer understanding when they close out their books, but that's the best of my knowledge at this point.
Is that divided by 1,300 residents, or?
Well, well, it's based, that's a better question for the assessor. I understand you have 750 households, but it's based on assessed value. So if you look at your tax bill this year, you will see the South Nyack Legacy District. And so the only people paying that are the former South Nyack residents. And that will continue going forward. You actually it was more complicated this year. You had 3 separate additions, but next year going forward, it'll just be the South Nyack Legacy District that you'll see there. And to be quite honest, it's going to go down because there is going to be a lot of money there. So let's say it was 360 this year. I will keep it on there, but I will appropriate fund balance so that that's going to be lower. But I'm not going to put it to 0 because it needs to stay on your tax bill. So it might be $10,000, and I appropriate the rest from fund balance until either you run out of money in that South Nyack Legacy District or everyone dies and you no longer have any costs. Sorry.
That was a little blunt. Okay, yeah, we have to, I mean, I know you have a lot of questions, and Jeff, you know. Thank you. Okay. Okay, did we close the public portion? Did I? We did? Oh, we did. Motion to close the public portion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian Donnie moved, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did we do it? We did it twice, okay. So now we're going to move to the first item, which was to accept the quitclaim deeds from the Village of South Nyack, as identified on the list there with the one correction, it's Tout, is that what we said?
Yes.
Okay. Tout Park, okay. Can I get a
Tout.
motion? Tom Divany moves, second.
Second.
Jerry Vittori, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, authorize the execution of an assignment and assumption agreement for the South Nyack sale of 65 Brookside Avenue. Can I get a motion?
I'm sorry, it's also for the Village Hall, just in case it doesn't close tomorrow. But
Okay. Don't even, Don't even, okay, okay. Okay, can I get a motion?
Moved.
Dimony, second? Jerry Vitari, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 5 is authorizing substitution of counsel in the matter of South Nyack versus Yeshiva Vitznitz, decal, of the college. We are, it's to convene to replace Bleakley Prep because we have a conflict with them, so can I get Jerry Vitari move? Second?
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 6 is establishing the position of Secretary of Planning and Zoning Boards. This is an exempt position in the Office of Building, Zoning and Planning.
This hasn't been discussed. Why are we bringing this up today?
This is the position that the members of the planning board have. It's exempt.
I make a motion.
All right.
Paul, second?
I'll second that, Teresa.
Brian Donahue, all in favor? Aye. Number 7, appoints Akuna Mam into the position of Secretary of Planning and Zoning Boards of OBSPay. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Paul, second?
Yep.
Jerry? Do you want to roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are going back into executive session?
Yeah.
We're not going to go back on a vote or anything. We're going to go in just on personnel-related matters, and we'll come out. We're not going to vote, so you happy to say that. Can I motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Tom moved it. Brian seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, have a good night, everybody.